Good morning. I'm Kate Bays here with Mike McCormick. We're so excited to be with you. Good morning, Mike. So, Mike, so timely. You're with LIVE2LEAD. You share such a positive message with people, and now just absolutely great timing with people just needing a positive message. Tell us about what you're doing. You've got some events coming up, so much exciting stuff to come. Tell us all about it.
Well, sounds good. I'm happy to be here, and I appreciate you doing this interview. And hopefully I'm going to be able to explain to people how good I feel about what we're doing. There's an old saying that if you're chopping wood, every now and then you should stop and sharpen your axe, that you'll be much more productive with a sharp axe than you will with a dull axe.
Yeah.
So this metaphor of increased productivity is the one thing that I wanted to communicate. But basically this morning, what I'd like to do is talk about the message that we're presenting at LIVE2LEAD, talk about the messengers, the people that I'm involved with that are going to help us to deliver this message. And also we have a prescription, or we have something that we would like people to do as a follow-up to this great day. And so if we could talk about those three things today, I would be very happy. So.
Oh, I'm just so happy you're with us. So let's talk about your events and why, everyone wants to know nowadays. They call it the WIFM. What's in it for me?
Yes.
Tell everyone why these events are so wonderful, why they need to be there with you.
Well, that's a very good question. And actually, the answer is going to vary from person to person. I'm always amazed at what people get out of this and who they like the best. And oftentimes it might be the person sitting next to them that brought the most value to the meeting. But we have a full lineup of really great speakers, great workshops. And what we are trying to do is help people to maybe sort through a couple of really important things. I say important, especially this time of year, in the midst of the COVID experience, and not quite sure where we are. And that's part of the problem. So a lot of people are going to come to this and they're going to get a good direction for their life. They're sitting around right now wondering, should I take this step? Should I do this? Should I change jobs? Should I start my own company? Exactly what am I going to do with the rest of my life? What is my purpose? And so one of the things that they do as they're listening to people, and most of them have some kind of a rags to riches story. They started out as an entrepreneur. They thought they were going to do really well. They ran into many obstacles, some crippling obstacles that they worked their way through it. And the end result is that they learn a lot to help guide people in the direction that they should be going. The second thing is that this journey is not something that we want people to take without gaining in confidence. So when you hear these speakers and you say, I can do that, or hey, that person is just like me, or I really relate to that speaker, or I'm sitting next to a guy that has worse problems than I do. So it does start to help you to have a greater confidence in what you are doing. I always say that we were created to succeed, not to fail. There's nothing about our bodies, nothing about our life experience that condemns us. Most things that we, like our own personal equipment, gifts that God has given us, are designed to help us, and we should grow in confidence that we are equipped personally to do these things. And then the other thing is, this isn't just like attitude stuff, although that's really important. This is about giving people an increase in their capabilities. In other words, they're going to come and they're going to learn things that are going to help them move forward and help them have a better future. They really should be thinking about their future, because that's where most of us are going to spend the rest of our lives, in the future. And so having increased capabilities to deal with life really is something I think that people are going to get out of it. So to kind of summarize that, we are expecting people to grow personally. We're expecting them to grow, make progress in their career or their business or starting something new. And then most importantly, we're hoping that we can bring some level of satisfaction to people, where they realize that joy comes from being thankful for what you have, not necessarily from what you're going to get. And if we can get people to feel satisfaction with who we are, I think we would have accomplished the mission of giving them their money's worth for the day that we're having.
Oh, let's circle back to the the event and the details, 2 events that we want to talk about. But let's come back to that. Let's talk about how you got involved in Live to Lead. What drew you in to John Maxwell's team and Live to Lead and all of this? How did you get involved? What inspired you to do this?
Well, that's a really good question. I spent most of my life in the insurance or the investment business. And in 1998, a friend of mine who was and I co-founded a company that actually went on to be a very, very successful company. And we even made the Pittsburgh Business Times, top company list, and we were #1 in our industry in one particular year. So our journey started in 1998, and through 2007, we had a meteoric rise. We had an amazing amount of growth. We attracted a lot of advisors to what we were doing, and a lot of people got caught up in our serve customer mentality, and that was a great experience. And then after 2007, 2008 hit, and I spent the next years up until about 2014 rebuilding what the market had destroyed. So if you remember, in 2008, we had the financial collapse. We actually spent a good number of years repairing, replacing, and working to get back to where we were in 2007. So when I retired in 2014, I actually looked at my career and I said, you know what? I learned more in the last years where we were rebuilding what was broken, refixing everything, and I've gained an extreme amount of knowledge. And so retiring, I felt like I had all this knowledge and I didn't know what to do with it.
Yes.
And actually, a new friend of mine, I said, what are you doing? What are you doing next week? And he goes, I'm going to Orlando to get trained and certified by John Maxwell. Well, unlike a lot of people, I've read a lot of John Maxwell's books, and I go,
yes.
That sounds interesting. And he said, yeah, you got to go with me. And I said, well, let me think about it. And so the next day I called him up and I said, when are we leaving? And so we went and we actually were certified. We went through this process of becoming certified as a coach, speaker, and trainer for the John Maxwell team. And that gave us the rights and privileges to use a certain amount of John Maxwell's content. So he provided the content for what I do. And I then say, like I do the color commentary, I add all my life experiences that I like to share with people. And that combination is a winning combination for people who can endure me and like his content, or they get something out of both of us. So.
That's fantastic. So I would love to know, you've been doing this, you've been at this for a couple of years. What story or someone has to have come up to you and just shared something that was so profound about their experience having been with you at one of your events.
Yeah.
I would love to know something like that. What was something someone took away that just has stuck with you?
As you know, we have 5 major speakers, and they are all world-class speakers. They have proven results through life's experiences. They're good. They're paid professionally a large sum of money to appear for an hour or so. And so they're good at their craft, which is why we have combined them to put this event on. So I always think, well, like one year we had Steve Harvey. And I always thought, well, Steve Harvey is just going to dwarf everybody else in terms of people's interests and all that. And so at the end of every event, I always say, who did you like the best? Which one changed your life? And inevitably, I am wrong. Okay. Huh. So that particular year, we had Alan Mulally, who was a Boeing executive that left and helped Ford Motor Company rebuild their company. He's the only non-family member to run the Ford Motor Company. And he was very engineer-like. And with all due respect of engineers who are listening to this, he was very methodic, sort of boring, wasn't really a professional speaker, but he laid out his plan for rebuilding Ford. And many people in the audience liked him over Steve Harvey, to my amazement. And then I always have somebody that that person was just like me. And I would have not known that going into this. So I am constantly blessed, if you will, with people who share things like that. And then the other thing I want to say is that my event is both a event for speakers, but we do a lot of networking as well. And so often when I say that might be the person next to you, we encourage that interaction. We have a kind of a format that helps them to meet everybody, and they might meet their next customer there. They might need to meet their next employee there. They might meet somebody that's going to make a big difference in their future. And I've had that happen more often than not, that they come in as strangers and they end up doing business together because of meeting, and the event becomes something that they do every year. So we've done this, will be fourth time this year in Dublin, Ohio, where I live temporarily. And 8 of the 9 sponsors that we have come back every year. So that's how I measure what you're asking me. Is this impacting people? They wouldn't be sponsoring the event if they didn't feel like it impacted somebody. And we have some great sponsors again this year. So I've mentioned the speakers. We have great workshops, and we have some really powerful sponsors who help make the event a great event. So, and I'd like to mention them at some point in time.
Oh, absolutely. Whenever.
Well, we have a values-based financial planning firm called Astor Wealth.
Okay.
And this is a firm that has really seriously contemplated how do we add value to our customers' lives. And so their whole focus, their whole team, and all of them are going to be at our event, they're focused on what can we do to make the financial planning personal and something that somebody understands, and really something that helps them have a better life. They're actually doing one of our workshops. So they're a sponsor, and also they're doing one of our workshops. And then the second one is I have a person named Michael John McCormick coming, happens to be a relative.
Okay.
Also, he has a practice called Higher Purpose Practice. He works with nonprofits. His nonprofits that he works with are like the West Virginia Medical Center, Johns Hopkins University, St. Jude's. He's also working for or with Youth for Young Life International. And so he's like in the nonprofit sector, some institutional and some otherwise, but he's doing one of our workshops as well. And then another one of our sponsors is NSS Life. And they're a local insurance company that's a multi-billion-dollar company, and they're headquartered in McMurray, and they're a fraternal organization. So fraternal means they don't have customers, they have members. Right. So their members benefit from the financial health of their company through specific investment products that help them. So that's just a glimpse of what our sponsors bring to the table. And our speakers have another set of gifts that make the day an exciting It's an exciting day.
So that being said, Mike, how, and if at all possible at this point, can sponsors still reach out to you to be a part of your events?
They can, yes. And we actually have an event planning guide where we feature all of our speakers and all of our sponsors. So they get to put their resume or an ad in that guide. And it's an 8x11. So it's it's really a great work in itself. It opens up and people take notes next to the speaker. So when somebody is speaking there, that person's photo is in there and they have a place to record that. That event planning guide has been a keepsake for people who attend, and every year they walk away with a collection of good speakers with good messages, and they are able to put that into their personal libraries. So, so that's another really strong positive, and those stories that come about when people tell me, "Yeah, we met at your event, and we know each other. We're doing business now. Our families know each other." There's all kind of things that happen post-event. And it's not like you just hear a good speaker and then you write that down and then you go apply it, or you forget it in 2 days, which happens a lot. We actually give people an opportunity to meet people, share who they are, do some networking. And I think a lot of people like that part the best because they're able to get business out of it. Yes. And that's what we want. We want measurable results from our event.
That's great. So we've got speakers, we've got workshops, we've got networking.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, the piece we didn't talk about yet is our actual speakers, so I can spend a few moments with that. So,
please.
Yeah, so we have proven speakers. I say proven meaning they're time tested, and they're you can go on the internet and check out all these. They have blogs, they have YouTube. Most of them are multimillionaires. They started from scratch, which is a common denominator, and they applied principles, maybe John Maxwell's principles. They applied values, certainly John Maxwell's values, to their lives and to their business, and amazing things have happened because they had the intestinal fortitude to work through the problems of the day. One thing I get out of it, and then I'll tell you a little bit about them, is they all had COVID-like experiences that actually affected them negatively in a dramatic way, whether it was the market crashing or something, an illness, some type of a major thing that they had overcome. And so there's no perfect time except now to get started with the new attitude, with the new perspective and all that. So John Maxwell, if you don't know who John is, he's written over 100 books on leadership. He's been a New York Times best-selling author many, many years over, $30 million in revenue from book sales. But more significantly, he's done training and coaching around the world, and has something like 20,000 plus coaches throughout the 150 different countries. So he's a man that has made this type of setting a big part of his life. Now, some of the other people are like Jamie Kern Lima, and she started a cosmetic company called IT. To make a long story short, she sold IT to L'Oreal for $1 billion. And she's a multimillionaire. She's made the Forbes richest women in America list. And she has actually been one of the top motivational speakers in the country because of her kind of rags to riches story. And I kind of like those stories because here are the people that you would say, if they went on Shark Tank, nobody would lend them money, okay? They always have that in common, and that's really good. Even another one would be Valerie Burton. She's a leadership coach, kind of a executive coach, if you will. She has written, I think, 13 books since 1999. I'm not sure what you did since 1999.
Wasn't great, 13 books.
Written them. But you can go online and get an idea of her, how she has helped, particularly women, think differently. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I would say about Valerie is that she has a message, whether you're a woman or just a person that's struggling in some way. She has a way of communicating, hey, it's okay. Other people have these issues. You're a good person. You can do great. And I don't mean to be condescending in any way. I'm just saying that a lot of time, all she does is turn the light on for an individual so they can see the way. So
sure.
And, the next speaker is Jeff Henderson. Jeff started out as a pastor, and he is also a person that's a noted author. His clientele would be people like the Atlanta Braves, and another Atlanta-based company, Chick-fil-A. He works with Chick-fil-A and some of those companies, and he has a book out written called Now, and it's how he works companies into thinking in that way. And then last but not least is Ed Mylett, and Ed is extremely popular. He's got a blog called Max Out, M-A-X Out, and so you can check his blog out every day. But he's like, he looks like a football player, if you will, or a weightlifter. So, being in shape physically is a big part of his message. But also, he has been a person sought after for groups that want a motivational speaker, if you will, but a motivational speaker who moves people into action, not just motivates them to stand still. And so I think he's in that league of a few people who make it the national list of people who are recognized for having capabilities in this area. So those are our speakers. And then I mentioned that Astor Wealth, and that's Nikki Molynix, and her partner is Mindy Zada, Z-A-T-T-A. They're doing the workshop on financial planning. And then I mentioned Michael, he's doing the workshop, how to develop a higher purpose practice. In other words, how do you take your practice to a point where you can exceed? So I mentioned he works with a lot of hospitals, a lot of surgeons, zero tolerance for error. So when you're working with surgeons, they're under the gun. They can't make mistakes. Right. So when I say a higher purpose, they may be holding themselves to or being held to by higher standards or a higher purpose than the average person. And he has some pretty interesting clients and really spectacular results of people who have called him back more than once. So between the speakers, the workshops, our sponsors, the people sitting next to you, it is what you make it. If you don't get something out of it, I'll say it's not my fault. Okay.
Yes.
You must have come and fell asleep, because, and even if you do that, people will wake you up. So I just feel like it's, well, let me just, if I can tell you, if you'd like, what a person gets out of it. I've said that already. The greater direction, greater confidence, increase in capabilities. But if you want, I could take a moment and talk about if a person brings their employees or sends their employees, what they might get out of it as well.
Great idea.
We'll
Great idea.
Get going here.
Yes, absolutely.
So if you have employees, so you can like sponsor a table, if you will, and all that information is on my website. You see that going across the bottom and of our screen here today. You can find out all about the sponsorship, or you can call me if you have to, and my email is on the website. But if you bring employees, and I have people who bring clients, I have people who bring their friends, I have people who bring their employees, I have people who bring their prospects and all that. But if you're bringing your employees, you're going to get, they're going to come back, they're going to leave with a renewed energy. You know, this kind of funk or fog that everybody's in from the COVID-19, and a government that tells us one thing one day and something different the next. And, you know, we deal with all those challenges in our world today. Right. Having that sense of purpose and sense of direction actually gives you a certain amount of energy. So your group, and some of our breakout sessions are designed for groups, so people leave with a greater sense of energy. Just a lot of them just are excited about having the day off, so it's a plus when they come to something that they really enjoy. But people always ask me, when's it over? Well, people hang around a lot, partially because they don't want to go back to work, but also partially because they're getting something out of it.
Sure.
And so they get renewed energy, new relationships. They meet other people. And they meet other people who have shared things in common, they have common with. But I think most importantly, they come away with new ideas, and they go back to work and they go, why don't we do it this way? And how about if we did this? And they're more engaged in doing things for the company, if you will, than just for themselves. Or they finally get the connection that the health of the company is directly related to their health. And what they get out of it is directly related to what they put into it. So
absolutely.
So if you think about it, I mean, there's it's like a Rubik's Cube. There's a lot of different things that can happen that will improve your life. And I summarize them in the beginning about talking about the sense of direction, you know, increased confidence and an increase in capability. So it's really an exciting day. So, and I'm not one of the speakers. That's the other good thing. I'm just
like you said, though, you can't leave without some benefit. If you did, you absolutely were sleeping through it. There's no possible way. The interactions that we're not getting these days, you know, working from home, just that benefit alone, being together in that atmosphere with like-minded people, what a benefit.
Well, I know people are staying home because of the virus still, and they're reluctant to get out. But I'll use this phrase. The event, the Live to Lead event, is a shot in the arm for them. Now, the shot in the arm metaphor started in 1916, believe it or not, whenever America first started to recognize the value of pharmaceuticals and the value of drugs and the positive effects of having a shot in the arm. You get a boost from the shot, and basically your health is going to be better. You're going to feel better and all that.
Yeah.
So I know that our government is telling us that we need to get a shot, that we need to get a virus. And my wife and I agree to get our shot. We think that's a personal choice that everybody should make. And we're probably going to get the booster shot for a while. But if you really want a shot in the arm that's going to make a difference, that type of vaccine will make a difference in your health. The type of shot in the arm I'm talking about is the boost, if you will, the booster that you're going to get from attending our event. And you're going to come out feeling a new sense of energy, boosted by the prescription, the medicine, the impact that the information that you're given is going to have on your life, on your family, on your future. It's not, you're going to get away from this, oh, woe is me attitude and get into, I can make a difference. And more people are resigning today from their job than any other point in time in history.
No.
There's a massive number of people that are saying, why do I go to work? I don't know why I do this. I'm spending most of my life doing something I don't enjoy with people that I don't like, doing things I'm not good at. And so I'm not saying do that. I'm saying instead of doing that, come and learn how you might take a different path. You might take new steps. You might make some new decisions about how you are going to spend your time, and those steps are going to change your life. So.
Rejuvenation. I love it.
Rejuvenation. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I left that word out, so I thought I had most of them covered. So,
Mike, you have 2 events. We've got about 3 minutes left here. 2 events coming up. One we've got as a crawl across the bottom there, South Point in Pittsburgh.
Yes, that'll be the first time we've done it here. I mean, other people might have attended a virtual Live to Lead event, or they may know somebody else like myself that's having it. But this is the first time that I am hosting it. And that's at South Point, which is in Canonsburg, PA. They have a brand new conference center. We're one of the first groups to come in and use that conference center. So it's brand new facilities, brand new environment. And we think it's perfect for our theme. And that's November the 19th. Doors open at 8:30, and people start to leave around 2 o'clock. So, but we have something exciting and we provide lunch too, by the way. So it's we've thought of everything to keep them there and keep them enjoying the experience.
And then your second event, Dublin, Ohio.
The second event, it'll be the 4th time we've done it in Dublin. We did it last year during COVID, actually. In spite of the restrictions that we were given because of, the COVID and the social distancing and all of that, we worked it out with the Golf Club of Dublin, and we committed to adhering to the guidelines that they were given by the state of Ohio, which meant we had to limit the size of our event. And then the next thing is that we are doing it again this year in Dublin, Ohio, at the Abbey Theater, which is a big theater, and we're doing it with the Dublin Community Rec Center. So our speakers are, this is a digital viewing of a live speech. Okay, so it used to be that all the speakers would go to Atlanta and then they would broadcast this. But the format now is that people go to Atlanta, some people go to another studio, but then we rebroadcast the event. So we're rebroadcasting the live event. John Maxwell will not be at South Point, but once the video starts, you will think that he's there. If you've been in a church, for example, where they have the big screens now, after the service starts, you forget that you're watching a screen. So our speakers will be there, but the John Maxwell speakers will be presented through video. So but the experience is a combination of live people at the event to do the workshops, and that our sponsors and the relationship building, all that is done in person. So it's partial video, mostly in person, but it's not, they're not, but it's, and people seem to enjoy it no matter what. So.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to include all of the information. We want to make sure everyone can get their ticket. Everyone can get their seat, whether you're going to Ohio, you're going to Cannonsburg, whichever event you want to be a part of. We want to make sure that you have all those details. We've got the crawl at the bottom there, but I've included all of the information. You'll see below information how to get to Mike's website, Mike's email, how to sign up for a ticket to either event. We want to make sure that you have access to all that information. So fear not, it's all included.
Yeah,
did I miss anything, Mike?
About my phone call, my phone number, and my email address is on there too. And if they're watching this video and they're contacting us because of this, we're going to give them a special price or an extra ticket or two to bring somebody that they care about. So,
added bonus, fantastic! That's great, great news. Okay, Mike, what a tremendous half hour spent with you this morning. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing this message, your positivity, the rejuvenation that you promise. It's amazing, and I think it's just perfect timing. People need to be with you for these events. Absolutely.
Well, the first time you'll have to take my word for it, but next year, because we're planning on doing this every year, people will give testimonies from this area as to how good it was. So, and how it changed their lives. So, I appreciate you and you providing this format for me. And I hope that you have a great day and the rest of the week. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at our Live to Lead event. So.
Sounds good. All right, folks, take care. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mike.